Question about after the exit, right? Are there any issues that traditionally come up that you see all the time that you want to like warn people against, or what are the types of issues that come up?
Right. Yeah. So some of the issues that come up when the deal is about to close and everyone thinks they're got their money and everything's ready to go is, SALT income tax issues, meaning sales tax, state taxes, city taxes. um, so the problem is a lot of our customers are on the web and they're across the United States and they may go into other states and not file there. Well, what happens during the sale process is the buyer does their due diligence and they check to see should this entity be filing in those states? Should this entity be paying sales tax it hasn't been paying? And the problem is when this stuff comes up in the 12th hour, when you're not getting in front of it again, um, your price is getting reduced. And so what you want to do is you want to be on top of that before they figure it out. So are you caught up on all your financials? As they say, is there any skeletons in the closet? What's the status of your employee retention credit? Have you gotten it? Are you for sure getting it? Is it going to be a liability you got to pay back? Because you're banking things on government shutdowns. And then the other thing is for S corporations, it's one class of stock and they need to be pro rata distributions. If the distributions go non pro rata, you just blow in your S corp, and now you're a C corp.
Oh, you
Gotcha.
can be you can have an you can go from being a C corp to an S corp,
And you can go from S corp to C corp.
not by your own accord,
If you,
by
yeah,
you.
yeah.
It's so it's like a forced transition.
Well, yeah, you don't purposely do it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it can happen.
Wow, that's so strange. Well, that's also. Did we ask about the like steps involved to make sure you have the right CPA after an exit? I don't know. Did we cover that yet?
I don't
I,
think
I
so.
think,
A little bit.
well,
We did.
I think in the context that my experience is that the business seller is so fully focused on getting the deal done that they forget to think about themselves.
Hmm.
And so it's only, I bump into this all the time. It's only well after the deal's done do they start, because then they got to help make sure that the two companies mold together and things like that. So it ends up being that they need to do the shopping, but they run out of time prior. And that's when they revert back to their old advisor. And as you pointed out, Mike, if you go from being worth 2 million to 20 million, you got a different set of problems. And
Hmm.
you got to find someone who can address those problems. And it's usually not the same person. So, Ryan, I think we did cover it in the context that you got to go out looking, and Mike, you just brought up a really key point. You got to have a situation where advisors will play in the same sandbox together. I have,
Hmm.
in
Yep.
countless encounters, reached out to a client's accountant and they don't want to talk to me because it represents more work and they're afraid to bill the client for that extra work. So you got to find people who will play nice in the sandbox together.
Yeah. Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
Again, back to the CPA, right? And working with advisors like Mike is talking about. So the thing with people need to ask for CPAs is what's a CPA's availability?
Yeah.
What is a CPA's industry, experience? And then the last thing is what's the approach to client service? Like what's the deliverable? Like you're gonna go do a return for me. How are you gonna give it to me? You're gonna do a projection for me? Well, how are you gonna relay my estimates and how I'm doing? Like, you know, is there a process? Is it streamlined? Because, I streamline it with my clients to make it easy because again, like Mike said, these people are busy. They want a 30-second blip of what they owe, when they owe it, and what's going on with their business and where they're heading for the year.